Welcome back to Learn English with Sunda-ish. How you doing? Straight from the heart of New York City, we're coming at you with some classic English phrases. Today, we're going to explore the rich tapestry of language that colors the streets of the Big Apple. Our focus will be on everyday vocabulary and phrases, the kind you'd hear in casual conversation right here in New York City. So grab your favorite cup of joe, sit back, and let the city that never sleeps teach you a thing or two. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into the fascinating world of New York English. First off, let's crack the code of some classic New York vocabulary. When you think of New York, you might picture towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, and a melting pot of cultures. But New York has its own unique language too, filled with words that are as diverse and vibrant as the city itself. Let's dive into some of the basics. First up, the city. This may sound generic, but in New York, it's anything but. When New Yorkers say the city, they're specifically referring to Manhattan, the heart of New York City. So, if you hear someone say, "I'm going into the city," they're likely heading to Manhattan. Next, we have borough. New York City is divided into 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island. Each borough is a separate county with its own unique personality and flavor. For instance, you might say, "I live in the borough of Brooklyn." Now let's tackle stoop. A stoop is a set of steps leading up to the entrance of a building, typically a brownstone. Stoops are a staple of New York architecture and are often the site of casual gatherings and neighborhood chats. You might hear something like, "Let's hang out on the stoop later." Lastly, we have bodega. A bodega is a small neighborhood grocery store, typically family-owned. They're a New York institution, offering everything from sandwiches to household essentials. You might find yourself saying, "I'm going to grab a coffee from the bodega." So there you have it. Some basic New York vocabulary to get you started. Remember, the city refers to Manhattan. A borough is one of 5 areas in New York City. A stoop is a set of steps leading up to a building. And a bodega is a small neighborhood grocery store. Now that you're familiar with these words, you're one step closer to sounding like a true New Yorker. Now let's move on to some phrases that New Yorkers use every day. First up, we have "forget about it." This phrase is as versatile as they come. It can mean anything from a simple no to a wholehearted absolutely. For instance, if someone asks you if you'd like another slice of New York's famous pizza and you're already full, you might say, "Forget about it," meaning no, thank you. But if someone asks if New York has the best pizza, you might also say, "Forget about it." This time meaning, absolutely, there's no competition. Next we have, "What's the big idea?" This phrase is often used when someone is doing something that you don't understand or agree with. Let's say someone cuts in front of you in line at the deli. You might turn to them and say, "Oh, hey, what's the big idea?" It's a way of expressing surprise or annoyance. Then there's the classic, "I'm walking here." This phrase is often used in a humorous or exaggerated way to express frustration when someone is in your way. It's a quintessential New York phrase, capturing the city's bustling, pedestrian-friendly streets. For example, if you're navigating a busy sidewalk and someone is blocking your path, you might exclaim, "I'm walking here." It's a friendly way to ask someone to move aside. These phrases are more than just words. They're a part of New York's unique culture and way of life. They express the city's energy, its hustle and bustle, and its no-nonsense attitude. So the next time you find yourself in the Big Apple, don't be shy to try them out. They'll not only help you communicate more effectively, but they'll also give you a taste of what it's like to be a true New Yorker. With these phrases under your belt, you'll fit right in on the streets of New York. Now that we've covered some vocabulary and phrases, it's time to put it all together. Let's envision a scenario. You're in a coffee shop in the heart of New York City, and you're about to order. You might say, "Can I get a bagel with cream cheese and a cup of joe, please?" Here, a cup of joe is a colloquial term for coffee. It's these little nuances that make your English sound more natural and conversational. Similarly, let's say you're in Central Park and you see a friend passing by. You might call out, "Hey, what's the scoop?" Now, what's the scoop is a phrase commonly used to ask what's new or what's happening. It's a casual and friendly way to initiate a conversation. Well, now, imagine you're at a baseball game at Yankee Stadium. Your favorite team hits a home run, and you can't contain your excitement. You might exclaim, "That was out of the park." This phrase, "out of the park," is used to express something impressive or exceptional, just like a home run in a baseball game. But remember, not everything in New York is as exciting as a home run. For example, if you're stuck in traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge, you might say, "This traffic is a real drag." Here, a real drag is a phrase used to describe something boring, tedious, or annoying. These are just a few examples of how you can incorporate the vocabulary and phrases we've discussed into your everyday conversation. The destination is to comprehend the nuances of these phrases. Remember, it is not just about words and verb patterns. It's also about context and culture. And there you have it. We've taken a trip through the vocabulary and phrases of New York City, and we've seen how they can be used in different situations. I hope this gives you a better understanding of English casual conversation in the Big Apple. Remember, practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to use these phrases in your everyday conversation. Well, we've covered a lot today, but remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to New York English. We've journeyed through the bustling streets of the Big Apple, exploring the vibrant language that makes this city so unique. We started by laying the foundation with some basic vocabulary. A slice, a stoop, and a borough aren't just words. They're a part of the city's identity, the lifeblood of casual conversation. Then we delved into phrases. Forget about it. What's the rush? And you telling me, these are the verbal threads that weave the fabric of New York chatter. But learning a language isn't just about knowing the words and phrases. It's about using them, integrating them into your everyday speech. And that's where practice comes in. Remember, the more you use these vocabularies and phrases, the more you'll sound like a true New Yorker. And here's a little secret. The city's language is constantly evolving, so there's always something new to learn. That's the beauty of New York English. It's alive, it's vibrant, and it's waiting for you to explore. And that's a wrap. Don't forget to subscribe to Learn English with Sunda-ish to continue your language learning journey. Until next time, take care and keep practicing.